In the summer of 2017, the Kalahari Reserve, which stretches across Botswana, was hit by a relentless drought. 3 months without a single drop of rain turned the once green plains into a scorched desert. Rivers dried up, and ponds turned into cracked clay crusts. The grass withered, leaving only dust and scattered bones of animals that did not survive the harsh conditions. The lion family, an adult male named Cairo, his mate, a lioness named Nala, and their little cub named Simba, roamed the scorched fields in search of food. They were exhausted. Their fur was dull, their ribs showing through their skin. In recent days, they had found only muddy puddles and the remains of long dead animals. Nala, weakened from eating carrion, contracted a severe intestinal infection, which caused her strength to dwindle with each passing day. On the 4th day without food or water, under the scorching sun, Nala staggered to a shallow puddle, where she collapsed, unable to go any further. Cairo, whose powerful figure now seemed only a shadow of his former greatness, approached her and growled softly, trying to cheer her up. He nudged her side with his head, but Nala did not respond. Simba, small and confused, poked his mother, trying to wake her, but received only weak breathing in response. At sunset, Nala breathed her last breath. The red sun sank below the horizon, and Cairo, sitting next to his companion's body, stared silently into the void. Simba, trembling with hunger and fear, curled up next to his mother's body. The night was long, filled with Cairo's mournful roars, echoing across the desert plains. In the morning, when Nala's body began to decompose and the air filled with the smell of death, Cairo made a difficult decision. He sniffed his companion one last time, let out a long roar, and turned to leave. Simba, unwilling to leave his mother, nevertheless followed his father, looking. The two emaciated lions, once proud, now limped across the scorched fields, guided by the faint smell of water and the hope of survival. Following their instincts, Kavaru and Simba walked for hours until they reached the outskirts of the small town of Mon, located 50 kilometers from the reserve. Mon was dusty, with cracked roads and old houses covered in rusty iron. The two lions slowly wandered down the deserted street, their eyes shining with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Despite his fatigue, Simba retained his childlike energy. He ran around, sniffing piles of rubbish and old posts. Local residents who noticed the lions peered out of their windows and immediately slammed their doors shut. Dogs barked from the yards, but no one dared to come out. Cairo occasionally growled, urging Simba to stay close. The heat was unbearable and the lion's paws left faint bloody marks on the hot road. Suddenly, Simba noticed a round sewer hatch cover in the middle of the street. Playfully, he ran up to it, began scratching it with his paw and rolling around next to it. Unaware of the danger, Cairo, standing aside, growled quietly, warning the cub, but Simba continued to frolic. The wind kicked up dust, swirling it around the deserted street where father and son were fighting for their fate. In an instant, the old rusty manhole cover gave way under the weight of the cub. Simba fell with a squeal into the dark sewer shaft. His claws desperately scratched at the edges, and the cold water below soaked his fur. Cairo rushed to the manhole, looked inside, and growled fiercely, but he couldn't reach his son. Simba, trembling, looked up, uttering faint cries for help. Cairo circled around the hatch, scratching the steel cover, licking its rusty edges in despair. His roar echoed throughout Mon, but the frightened residents only watched from a distance. Simba, exhausted, curled up in the sewer, only occasionally raising his head and whimpering quietly. Hours passed, and Cairo did not leave the manhole. He would lie down next it, then get up, trying to do something. His eyes, full of pain, did not leave the dark hole where his cub was. A few brave locals approached, but when they saw the huge lion, they quickly retreated. By evening, when the dim streetlights came on, Cairo was still sitting by the manhole, occasionally licking its edges, as if hoping to pull Simba out. Finally, one of the residents called the local ranger service. Due to the remoteness of Mana, help arrived only in the morning. The rangers and police saw an emaciated Cairo, who kept his eyes fixed on the manhole. Locals said they had seen a lion with a cub, but now the cub was gone. The rangers quickly realized that Simba had most likely fallen into the sewer. The ranger team developed a rescue plan, taking into account the danger posed by the adult lion and the need to act quickly. The chief ranger decided to sedate Cairo with a tranquilizer. The dart hit the lion's shoulder precisely. Cairo flinched and stood up, but after a few minutes his strength gave out and he collapsed to the ground with a heavy sigh. While several people checked on Cairo, others approached the hatch. A flashlight illuminated the shaft and they saw Simba wet, shivering but alive. Using a strong rope and a large bucket, the rangers carefully descended to the cub. Simba was too weak to resist and was gently placed in the bucket. When he was pulled to the surface, the crowd of onlookers gathered at a safe distance burst into cheers. As soon as Simba was on the ground, he rushed to his father, who was still lying unconscious. He buried his muzzle in Cairo's thick mane, as if seeking protection. The rangers quickly prepared a large cage mounted on a truck and carefully transferred both lions to it. Simba settled down next to his father, resting his head on his paw. The truck with the cage slowly left Mon, heading for the Kalahari Rescue Center, located a few hours' drive away. Residents watched the vehicle depart, and children ran after it, waving their hands. Rangers reported via radio that both lions had been rescued, prompting a sigh of relief from everyone who had been following the operation. The Lion Rescue Center prepared a spacious area with clean water and plenty of food. Veterinarians immediately began examining the lions. Cairo received intravenous nutrient solutions and vitamins to restore his strength after prolonged exhaustion. Simba was bathed to clean him of dirt and checked for injuries. Fortunately, he only had minor scratches. For the first 3 days, Cairo remained in a coma due to the effects of the tranquilizer and severe exhaustion. But on the 4th day, he opened his eyes. His gaze was filled with panic until he saw Simba sleeping peacefully nearby. The cub immediately jumped up and rushed to his father, cuddling and purring quietly. Both lions, father and son, lay in the warm sun, surrounded by care. The rangers watched the family reunion with smiles. They were confident that after their recovery and the end of the drought, Cairo and Simba would be able to return to the wild. The story of their rescue spread throughout the reserve and even beyond. For the residents of Mana, the image of Cairo guarding the hatch all night long became a symbol of fatherly love and fortitude. For the rangers, it was one of the most memorable missions of their career. Under the hot sun of the Kalahari, this story of survival and family affection lives on in the hearts of all who heard it. 2 lions, father and son, survived tragedy but found a second chance thanks to human help. Their journey, full of pain and hope, will forever remain etched in the sands of the African savanna. Friends, thank you for taking the time to read this story. If it touched your heart, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel to support us. See you in the next stories about wildlife.